This is Paul Tyler, and welcome to another episode of our Innovation Hour. So, Laura, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Paul?
Good. Well, we've got some special guests and a very interesting topic. Do you want to set it up for people who
Sure.
are joining us?
Yeah, so we're talking twofold today. So emerging talent and also, you know, expectations versus reality of the insurance industry from the perspectives of our two summer interns, Megan and Lynn. So Megan and Lynn, let's start by having you introduce yourselves. What universities do you attend? What are you focusing your studies on? And how did you find yourself at NASA?
Uh, you know, yeah,
Sure.
please do.
So I'll be, I'm Megan. I'm from originally Avon, Connecticut, and I go to the George Washington University in DC. I'm studying business administration with concentrations in marketing and business analytics. And I found NASA just on Indeed, and I was looking for a summer internship, and I was really drawn to the innovation and the incubator specifically, and we'll kind of dive more into that later. Yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of the marketing team, and it's been a great journey so far.
And hi, everyone. I'm Lynn, and I'm going to be a senior at Bentley University. And my main major is marketing, but I have a double major in liberal studies for media arts and society. And similarly to Megan, I just found this job posting on LinkedIn, and it seemed to offer some really great opportunities within marketing and more like on the digital creative side with the incubator and social media marketing, with also having some analytical and more strong marketing background. So yeah, it's been a great summer so far.
Well, listen, it's been great to have both of you. You've contributed an enormous amount to our team and the work we're doing. We'll get in there more. But so, Laura, we've been offline for 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Is that right?
2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. It's been a minute. So I guess the question is, where have we been? Paul, if you'd like to start, where were we months ago?
Yeah. So let's see. I know I was actually part of a Manhattan Business or Chamber of Commerce meeting. Talking to small business owners about how to get their business back and running and reinvent themselves. A little bit of innovation, both on the business side as well as technology side, but also just on the financial side. How does a business owner use insurance products to help them through a tough time like this? So it was a little bit of business, a little bit of innovation, all in one. It was great experience.
Oh, fantastic. So we were Manhattan, and then we had what's called Northeast InsurTech Week. So I'm hoping that a lot of our viewers either had a chance to see our program on Monday that took place on the 13th of July, or the other programs. But what is Northeast InsurTech Week? Well, let's rewind and say, what is the Northeast InsurTech Alliance? There are a group of us who come together, and we work a lot within this ecosystem. And we figured what's better than kind of combining all of our efforts and all of our niches together. So between Kesnay's, Innovation Underwriters, InsurTech New York, InsurTech Hartford, and Nassau Re, the five of us came together to create 5 days worth of content that really spanned the entire aspects of the insurance industry. If you missed it, we're going to be putting out a YouTube channel with all of the content on there, but keep your eyes open. It was everything from perspectives from regulators and rating agencies and how insurance carriers should be innovating during these times to understanding diversity and biases within the insurance industry, female founder journeys, to emerging technologies. So it was a breadth of discussion, and it was a really great turnout from across the world, actually. And it's something that I think we're going to be doing going forward. So keep your eye out on that. Let's turn back to now, and let's talk about what have we been doing, and especially having both of you. I mean, I'm sure that it wasn't top of mind that your internships were going to be virtual. So how has that been? Did you think for a split second, was there any doubt? Oh no, this horrible coronavirus has come and it's changing the way in which everyone is doing all of the things. Maybe I won't have an internship. Were you thinking that might not happen?
Yeah, that was definitely a concern, especially for me, because Bentley is such a big accounting and finance school, is that all of those internships seem to be getting canceled. And so I just thought that I would be next. So when I got the phone call that this was still going on, I was very excited, regardless of the capacity that it was going to be in. And being remote has been definitely fun and definitely rewarding.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I think we're really fortunate to be able to do this. And meet people we haven't met before. It's really interesting. The first time I ever hopped on a Zoom call, I was really nervous because I was talking to 10 people I've never met before. And what's so interesting about Nassau, specifically the marketing team that we were working with, is that everyone's super welcoming and willing to help us, even just kind of like being thrown into the middle of a project. It's been really nice to work with people that are able to support you. So we're really fortunate for that.
Yeah, it's it's our pleasure. We lucked out, right?
No, we absolutely did. And yeah, you actually helped us, pull off this Northeast InsurTech Week. And Laura, I've got to ask you, we had a debrief. Did we actually get a number of how many people in total, tuned in to all of our shows? Do you know what that? Did you get a grand total?
Yeah, we did have a total, and it was interesting because one of our team members there in InsurTech New York later revealed that they went slightly rogue, where we had a total across the week in the hundreds, and then InsurTech New York was like, "Oh, hey guys, by the way, we had another page, and it had about an additional 100 people on it." So it was a good example of how individual networks coming together help build these numbers. So it was well over, I want to say, 300-400 people at the events, but now they're going to be having the content available post-event on a YouTube channel. I think we're going to see a lot more interaction there. But I have to say, we pulled it off in a really tight time frame in a really tough time, and to get that type of viewership and people engaging throughout the week was really exciting. And next time we do it, we'll have more of a lead time, so we'll see how many folks we can get.
So I guess tell us about what you did to help Laura, pull the conference together, and then also help us, promote it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. So we were involved on some of the initial calls with the other partner incubators. So it was really nice just to be able to listen in and kind of see what their visions were and how they were going to set up their panels. We were also involved during the meeting, taking notes and kind of like monitoring what was going on. And then after pulling quotes, to be able to put some type of social media content that kind of highlights the key quotes from each of the speakers. So we got to see it come full circle.
Yeah, and both of you were facilitators in some of our breakout discussions using some interactive online tools. Megan, what was your impression taking notes, listening, using some of the new platforms that we kind of threw at you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were introduced to Mural this summer, which is basically a whiteboard. You can put sticky notes all virtually. So it was a very new tool to me. And I really liked it because it's like a master Google Doc almost. So you had like 4 breakout groups, and Lynn and I were both facilitators taking notes for our breakout groups, and Laura was taking notes for her group, and so on. And so at the end of all the breakout sessions, we had notes from each of the participants on this massive board. So you were able to see specific things that participants said in Laura's group or Lynn's group. So it was really nice to see what other people were thinking without having to like have them verbatim tell you what was talked about. So it was definitely a new tool. I think a lot of people haven't heard of it before. So I really enjoyed using it.
Yeah, Lynn, what was your overall impression of the discussion we had? And, is there anything we could have learned, from maybe, what colleges are doing online today that we could have done better next time?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would add is that some people didn't even know that we were taking notes and on that mural tool. So then having that kind of result just right in front of everyone to kind of visually represent the conversation that were happening, I thought that everyone was kind of surprised and fascinated by it. But yeah, no, I found the conversations to be really engaging, and that everyone kind of wanted to put their piece in, and having those different perspectives and backgrounds from different industries definitely kept the conversation going and keeping it fresh. Yeah.
So you mentioned industry, right? So, question to the 4 of us. All right, raise your hand if you thought you'd be getting into the insurance industry.
No.
Okay, great. So I guess one of the questions I have is, we've exposed you to a lot of different types of activities and a lot of different types of projects over the last few weeks that you've been here working with us. What's something that resonates with you that you're going to either take back and be like, oh, no, I am definitely not going in the insurance industry? Or what's something we're like, oh, I didn't know that they did that, and that's actually kind of cool, and now my perspective may have changed for the positive. So I guess, Lynn, starting with you, what's something that you're going to take away from this?
Yeah, our answers might be kind of similar, but I never knew that insurance companies had incubators such as our own, and that they give the opportunity for startups to build their business while providing resources and anything else that they need. So I thought that that was a very fascinating part of the business, even though it is sort of separate from like the main products and services that we offer. But yeah, I think just that's kind of something that I would kind of look for, just something that sets companies apart in my future job searches.
Megan, how about
I think,
yourself?
yeah, I would say one of my main interests I knew was definitely marketing, but I also was strongly interested in entrepreneurship, innovation, and startups. So when I heard that there was such a developed program, I was super excited about it. I also didn't know insurtech was a thing. I didn't know what it was, that there was such a big industry for it, and a lot of people were entering that market, especially in Hartford being like the capital of of insurance. So I think it was a huge opportunity for us to kind of like get a taste of what that industry is, even though like we haven't had a lot of experience for it, and it's been really interesting.
That's great. So I guess, we have people watch from different industries or different perspectives. What's something, so you're both emerging talent, you're in an interesting place, great universities. When you graduate and you walk that stage, whether it's in person, knock on wood, or virtual, what is it that you look for in a company or you look for in an opportunity? So for the people listening, how can they help differentiate or attract emerging talent such as yourself? What's something that matters that might not be obvious? It might, more than just a paycheck, more than just benefits. What are some of those things that really kind of matter?
A couple things that come to mind for me is having a really good company culture and just kind of fostering a workplace that employees are comfortable talking to each other, maybe about personal topics, but also that you're able to get work done and there's a good work-life balance. Obviously, it's a little bit different now that we're all online and kind of our home life is our work life. But I think that that's really important, and knowing that there's opportunities for growth as well. I think that I'm expecting to probably start out as more of like an entry level job, but knowing that there are opportunities for promotions and growth, I think that that's really important for me.
Yeah,
I
this
would
is
also
just.
agree.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I also agree. Like company culture is something they really stress in career courses. In addition to that, the ability to wear a bunch of hats and not kind of be tunneled into one position. So we've been really fortunate to work not only with our manager, but also other people on the marketing team on a variety of projects. And I think that's something that really attracts recent graduates because they like to work on a bunch of different things and not kind of be focused on one thing all the time, 9 to 5. So I'd say definitely differentiating yourself and having a variety of positions and hats that your intern or like new employee can wear, I think is really important.
Okay, so I'll kind of put you on the spot here, but so your onboarding was literally we shipped you laptops, right? I mean, so to speak, pop it up in your house, turn on the Zoom, get the email connectivity and stuff. Between Zoom, some of these tools, Slack, all these things we've been doing. Do you feel like you got a sense of the culture of the company when we haven't actually interacted? We've never been in the same room this summer.
Yeah, I think I definitely did, and especially more so the marketing department. But as Megan said, we worked on a lot of projects, so we were able to work with the Women of Nassau group and other groups like that. So I think we did get a pretty well-rounded understanding of Nassau as a whole. And then we also had some intern meetups, so we were able to kind of build those connections with the other interns as well.
And I also think like when you're working, it can kind of be, serious all the time, like work hard, no play. And what's nice about the company team is, you take moments to ask people about their weekends. Everyone has like a fun virtual background and we talk about that. We had a coworker have a birthday and everyone had their virtual background of happy birthday. So I enjoy that it's not serious all the time. And I feel like it's just, you can talk about real things with your coworkers and it's not just always about work. So I think that's kind of the company culture that really mends that difference.
Yeah, and it's something interesting too, right? So I've only been with the company since September, so where it's almost going to be a year, and I can't even. That's really
a year.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's been a really fantastic year, and I think part of it is due to the company culture, right? So I'm someone much like yourselves where I like to wear multiple hats. I like to always be in the thick of it all, and good with details, but also good on the very high end of things to kind of see where we can go next. And I think it's interesting to interact with both of you, because not until, Paul actually said it, did I really stop and realize like, oh, wait, we haven't actually met in the traditional sense yet it's almost as though it's not that I wasn't missing it, but I didn't realize that it never happened, just because you guys integrated so well into the team and into, you know, what we've created as our own little subculture, even within Nassau, that it's like, oh, you're right, we haven't actually met. Isn't that weird? But it just goes to show, right, that they're, you know, we're in such a different time frame where certain companies just didn't have the opportunity to have virtual interns. And that's terrible, because I think the internships are such a great opportunity for both sides of the spectrum, for not only the interns, but then the companies to stop. And, you know, your help on social media, for example, and some of the ways that you think about things has been great for me, because I want fresh perspective. I want these new ideas, and I want to see it from a different lens. So it's just been a really great opportunity to, you know, engage you and involve you in the work, and kind of get your mindset and your standpoint. And, you know, Megan, I don't know if you want to give a highlight of the Passions project that you're working on, because I think that's a really good example.
Mm-hmm. So something that really strikes me about entrepreneurship is people's passions and how that drives them. Not so much, you know, the investments they get or like which venture capitalists they work with, but rather the passions that drive them. So over the past couple of weeks, I've interviewed around 5 of the startups in the Reimagine program, and just talk about their passions, what motivates them, where their initial ideas start. And it's been really interesting, and they've had a lot of unique insights on the insurtech industry, on innovation, and just startups in general. So I've been working on compiling that into social media series, which will be live on the Reimagine Instagram and Twitter. So keep an eye out for that coming soon.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to see this. Yeah, it sounds terrific. Sounds terrific. I don't know what kind of looking back in the summer. I mean, this is the longest. This is I can't make this time up. If you were to give us advice doing this again, and working remotely like this, what would you tell us to do?
I would say the daily team calls are really nice, because it's you can feel really lonely if you're just on your computer all the time. But if you have like some type of structure where you check in with your team every single day, I think that helps people be productive and also feel really connected. But at the same time, you don't want to overdo it and have like 6 Zoom meetings back to back. So finding that balance between like when you can actually do the work versus when you like sit and talk about it, I think is the key to
Right.
remote.
Write that note down. Keep going.
Yes. But by the way, that was a problem before Zoom, unfortunately.
Right. So in life in general, like talking to
Yeah.
people versus like actually getting down to do it. So I think
Yeah.
there's a balance there.
No, it's absolutely.
And
Yeah,
what do you think? How would you hit some edits on this?
Yeah, I think the collaboration piece, especially in our department, is huge. And that I think I've worked with everyone on the team in just these last 8 weeks or so. So I think definitely keeping that up, because it's really interesting for someone who wants to go into marketing, but maybe I don't know exactly which facet I want to do or pursue. So definitely allowing us to kind of just get a taste of everything, dip our toes in every project and department. But yeah, like Megan said, kind of especially finding that balance between having all these meetings, but then also having work to do, and making sure that we're doing what we need, and you're giving us what we need and guidance and anything like that, but also letting us take creative liberties on some things.
That's awesome. All right, so this is the part I'm so excited. Because I play this own game only with myself internally when I started working for an insurance company. So I'm curious, Megan and Lynn, we're going to call this is our lightning round of expectations versus reality in the insurance industry. And granted, I will say, in my own personal opinion, I think our company is very different than a lot of other insurers. So I'll just put that on the table. But having no previous experience with an insurance company or this type of work, I'm curious. I'll name a few things. Let me know what your expectation was and what the reality was, and don't hold back. So, expectation of an insurance company's company culture. Megan, what do you think? What was your expectation coming into this?
I think if you walk into the office, I first thought everyone's in suits. It's very technical, financial talk, not very creative, kind of just like to the point. Yeah, that was basically it.
Okay, Lynn, what was your reality?
Reality, at least being online, is that people are in comfortable, casual clothes, but still professional and still decent. But
Some
Yeah,
of
like
us,
Megan.
some of us are. Some.
Paul's wearing a fancy shirt. It has a collar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, but then also showing your creative side by having like those virtual backgrounds, and building those personal relationships, which I didn't really expect. I kind of thought it was just you do your work and it's to the point, and then you're done.
It's funny. So you mentioned dress, right? I was reading an article on Crunchbase and it was talking about internships and the virtual internships and how the things that, and this was before they started to happen. So this was in, early May while school was still in session. And they were saying how it was, such a negative that people wouldn't learn soft skills such as workplace dress. And I'm thinking, but is that a negative though? Is that a negative? Because most cases, I think people come in, especially now, and they put their own flair on things. So I'm like, if that is the worst thing that we get out of this, where you couldn't learn how to wear a suit, like, bravo. But that's just my opinion. That
was kind of an unknown to me too, knowing going in like what the dress would be, because I didn't know in the virtual world like what people were wearing. Because I remember to my interview, I had put on a blazer and gotten all nice, and then Tisa, my manager, she was like, "Oh, like thanks for dressing up. Like we're just in sweaters." That was kind of interesting to learn.
It's so interesting though, right? Because as you go into the next part of your journey after you graduate, it's interesting how industry helps define workplace clothing, which helps set expectations. And it's so unique, and I think each place is different, but I'd be curious to keep an eye on that over the next few years and how this current situation's kind of evolved and adapted, even things such as the blazer. Because I'm not sure the last time I saw a blazer on anyone, maybe on March 14th.
Right.
Yeah. And just to add a little bit to that, my daughter, so she switched jobs in the middle of this. So she's working for a consulting firm, which is bizarre. All the perks that used to keep everybody consulting from, they're gone. No more dinners, no more, happy hours. So she's now going to put her laptop in one envelope, send it back to one company. In comes the laptop from startup to do it. She actually said to me, Lars, I love it. She's like, "Well, I don't have to dress up anymore." I'm thinking, "Well, you were dressed up before.
No.
What's it going to look like now?"
It's so strange as we talk to people through this entire thing, and it's with a virtual sense, whether it's an internship or just full-time, employee status doesn't quite matter, but like how people dress changes the mindset. Where I've talked to people and they say, "I don't have my commute, so I change my clothes, and that's how I know I'm done working." Just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever works for folks, right? Okay, so the next one. So expectation versus reality. And again, we talked about this a little bit, but I think it's interesting. So what was your expectation of the type of work that you were going to be doing? And it doesn't necessarily need to be into the nitty gritty, but whatever that expectation was, what did you think you would be doing within an insurance company? And Lynn, let's start with you.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a lot more maybe number crunching or just kind of data input. As I've had some experiences in the past where that was kind of the norm for me. So it wasn't so much I was involved in projects, but I was kind of like the backbone and kind of just supporting on like the data side. So being able to actually create my own projects and things like that, I guess that's a reality. Sorry, you go, Megan.
Right. So that's exactly it, like creating. So we had a lot of experience in Canva this summer, and that's a tool I haven't really gotten to explore, and it's really neat that you're able to kind of just take it and run with it. So one of the highlight projects we did was working with an agent, and his name was Lou, and we basically got just an outline from you, Paul, and said, here's the stick figure, like take it and make it look great and make it flow. And so Lynn and I were able to kind of see the vision from, just the scrap like iPad drawing up into a complete visual with bullet points and see it come to life in a webinar. So it's really nice that we've been able to see a lot of projects start to finish, but also kind of, getting thrown into the middle of a project. So it's been a nice variety of both.
No, you did a great job. By the way, those were like scratches, and you turned both of them into a presentation. It was great. And this was just for people who are listening. We did a virtual seminar for one of our top agents in North Carolina, and that was a unique adventure. It still continues. So I don't know what were your thoughts there? Expectations versus how it actually happened. I mean, Lynn, what did you expect? And Megan, how would you describe what came out?
Yeah, I think I expected, without knowing the content of the PowerPoint presentation first, I kind of thought it was just a salesman giving his spiel and trying to sell things to his clients, but it was more on a personal level. He told stories, and you can continue.
Yeah, he had really interesting insights on like saving tips, and his audience was adorable. I have to say, like, we've been doing a lot of marketing and I haven't really seen, the end result or like the type of person and our marketing and our work goes to. And so to see those like older folks on the phone, on the Zoom, figuring it out was really nice for me, because I was like, oh, this is where all the work is going towards. It's these kinds of people. And so it was a really great, 30-minute webinar, and I'm excited to have Nassau do that again in the future. And hopefully Lynn and I will be around to help out with that. But it was a really interesting event, and I think a lot of people enjoyed it and got some really good financial advice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and I wanted to play the game, because it's kind of interesting how we look at shifted mindset and what our expectations are, what a reality is. And it could be, applied to anything. It could be expectations versus reality of a virtual internship, or of an industry, or of, even just how people choose to show up on their Zoom camera every day. But I think that, it's great. And I'd be curious too. Obviously we want to stay in touch with both of you, but I want to see how the educational world evolves. What does university look like in 2 months, even, let alone 2 years? But just kind of taking a mindset shift of how have we been doing it? How can we do it? What are the current realities that we're up against? And then how do we kind of evolve, utilize tools to bring ourselves to the next level? I think it's been a really cool journey, even for us to go on with you over these last 8 weeks. But, if either one of you, what's one thing that you would want to leave behind to somebody who's going to be in your shoes? So someone who's going to either be a rising junior or a rising senior, and they're going to get an internship opportunity. What's one thing that you've learned that you would want to give to them?
I would say don't be afraid to hide behind a screen, because it can be really easy to, log on and just kind of like wait and then not speak up or not put your input, or feel like you're an intern and you're talking to, higher up leaders. So just having the confidence to assert what you're thinking. Also, being able to communicate is so important when you're online. Even if you have a little question, you Slack someone or you email someone, or you just give them little updates, so it's not like it's a ghost and you kind of just like throw stuff at people. I think having good methods of communication is super, super important when you're working remotely.
That's great.
Yeah, I agree. I think asking questions is definitely very important, whether that's on a Zoom call or, like Megan said, like Slacking to someone. But then also being patient with that, because sometimes there is a time lag and you're not just going over to someone's desk and asking them a quick question and then going back. Sometimes you do have to wait a little bit. And so kind of just staying organized too, and knowing, oh, I have now 15 minutes before they probably get out of their meeting and respond to me. What can I do with that time?
Excellent. Yeah. Hey, listen, we were so lucky to have both of you, and you really did make a big difference. I think sometimes, people run, these intern programs like, it takes so much time to make the work for people. But yeah, you both truly added a lot to our work this year. So we will definitely miss you when you're back on campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'd say, obviously thanks to both of you. And what was great is we didn't even have to create work for you. We gave you work that is real time, that we really needed your help and your expertise on. You were able to run and take us to the next level. So, thanks to both of you. We'll be excited to see what comes next on each of your journeys. And obviously we'll stay in touch, and, maybe 6 months from now, we'll do a little social media update on where you're at, and maybe
where are they now?
Right. I know, where are you now? What boat are you on? Awesome. So thank you both. And then hopefully tune in next Thursday, as we are going to have Jen joining us from Kesnays to talk about the journey of Kesnays and female founders and what that's all about.
Excellent. All right. Hey, listen, thanks so much. And thanks everybody for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was so fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us.